Okay, so last time on Midnight Club 3 we did the Wharf Tournament, and where after giving myself a few resets I eventually managed to go for the clean sweep. And in case if I made any mistake on the name of the main mechanic here in Tokyo, I now know that the main name of the mechanic in this game is called Tomoya, not Tamada. Tomoya is the name of the main mechanic here in Tokyo. And there's also his incompetent assistant, also is portrayed that way, Toshi. And before we get on with anything else, I have a problem. And what is that problem, you may ask? Well, I have reached 30 vehicles in my garage. And basically what that means is, if I just head over to the dealership and I choose something at random, like say this Pontiac GTO, you will notice we get a little message. You can only have 30 vehicles. Try freeing up a space in manage vehicles first. So basically what that means is we cannot purchase any more vehicles until I get rid of some. So basically, as much as I would honestly prefer to keep all of my vehicles, unfortunately, because of the garage cap, I basically need to start selling some vehicles ASAP if I am going to make room for upcoming vehicles. And the same can also be said for the prize vehicles as well. So, since I've already done... Okay. I will have a look through this. Let's see. Okay. So I have currently 1, 2, 3, 4 prized vehicles of the 11 in my garage already. So basically what that means is I'm going to have to go through a couple of my vehicle choices, and basically I'm going to need to sell a few. And so I think it is now time, as Jeremy Clarkson would put it, to cue the music. I have now dwindled the numbers down to just 23 vehicles in my garage, which means altogether I have sold 7 vehicles. And since I'm also going to want to include the police vehicles in my garage as well along the way, if I can do that, I think now is the time for me to actually get on with racing one of the cars I have left over. And since I've now decided the next one I'm going to do will be the American Royalty Car Club, otherwise known as the Muscle Cars Tournament, I'm going to switch over to the 68 Corvette, but I am also going to purchase myself another car, because I can do that now. And I figure, why don't I put in this, the 1970 Pontiac GTO, because then it means I will have technically driven at least one muscle car from each of the decades. 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So I will be putting myself down from 48 grand. I will be purchasing this thing for 48 grand. And my current value is 869,000. Nice. So I am now going to purchase this thing, and I will get round to... Oh, that's not where I wanted to be. And now I will go back to my Corvette once I can find it. Here it is. Switching back to the Corvette. And now, I think the only thing I'm really going to do here is just put on all the upgrades, because I can afford them. And I think the only thing I'm really going to do in terms of details, because I don't want to waste any more of your time, I'm just going to put on a flame vinyl. Just something that comes as a totem. Sure, why not? And I think in terms of the decals, I'll put Chevrolet on the front, and on the rear, let's go for sure, I can do Corvette. And I think the only thing that really needs to be changed here for me, I'll put on the dub badges just because I'll get more money. Just because I will get more money by doing this. And I think the last thing I'm going to do here is put on a neon. And then I think that'll do it. I'll just put on a colour at random. Sure, white, why not? And I'll give it level 2 flashing. And whatever. And as for the trim, you know what, yes. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything from what I can see now. The only thing I really want to check, the only thing I really feel like needs to be changed now is the rims. Unless I decide to keep those the same. You know what? Sure, whatever. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything now. I've given this thing some customization, so let's actually go and race this thing now before I waste many more of your time doing this. So this is my 1968 Chevrolet Corvette. as I will now be doing some more...
Now that is a proper ride.
As I will now be doing some more... optional racing. However, this is not going to be the only car that I use here, because I will also want to use the Pontiac GTO I just purchased. And so we begin with the racing now, after I spent probably 7 to 8 minutes, with the selling process sped up of course, of me pretty much just basically selling some of my vehicles, and now I am ready to race the first vehicle I purchased after selling all those vehicles. And this is going to be an interesting one because I am up against Class B vehicles in a car that has a bit less handling. This is going to be a long day. I am starting to get the impression of saying that this was an extremely bad idea. And I still cannot avoid wrecking myself as much as I am desperately trying to do so. It just feels like at this stage I'm asking myself to just get involved in what's essentially a total clusterfuck. Because that's kind of how I feel right now. It feels like I am basically getting myself involved in what's essentially a clusterfuck. That's just the way it's been so far. Probably doesn't help to say that I just got back off my holiday and, well, this is basically the first time in 1.5 weeks that I'm actually playing this game again. And I decided to immediately throw myself in the deep shit because something within me thought it was possible to basically just almost get my balls crushed, trying to just somehow deem myself worthy of taming a muscle car from the 60s. Well, at least I made the checkpoint. This is probably going to take a bit of getting used to. Especially when I get round to the fucking American Royalty Car Club tournament. Because I feel like that's going to be my biggest concern. Anyway, took me a few tries, but I got there eventually. I missed all the wrecking. And winning in the end by 2.6 seconds over Yuri. Sorry, 4.6 seconds over Yuri. West in third, Dupes in fourth, and Rachel fifth. And so that is our first race down with the 68 Chevrolet Corvette. I'll probably do 3 races with the Corvette and then I'll do 2 races with the Pontiac. Or I can do vice versa. And now it is raining. So we're now 64% complete with the game. And you know what? I'm going to do the Tokyo Dome run next. Because I don't want to see myself falling into what will be a really hard race to fight. So I'm going for the 9 grand race because it's wet and also because taming this car will be almost impossible. Because it is just so goddamn slippery, and also because this game has no direct definition of what a rain shower is. It's basically a rainstorm every time it rains in this game, is what it is. But anyway. Well, at least we're starting off in the parking lot, so I think what that means is once we get out onto the street, it's going to be pandemonium. And I know it's going to require plenty of car control if I'm actually going to get this right. Which at the moment does not appear to be the case. And it is fair to say that I don't have any power steering in this car. So that basically just makes the job even more irritating. But whatever, I go with what I have, and I hope that sooner or later I will make it work, if that is at all possible. I am convinced in saying I can avoid disaster right before a disaster happens. There we go. Okay. Oh, I missed the shortcut. But it doesn't matter, because I still wind up coming away with the lead anyway. Yeah, I think the main element you really need to focus on with the muscle cars is car control. As in, you really have to make sure that you have enough car control to stay on top of the oversteering physics that I think this race essentially has. And up to this point, I'd say there is a fair share of great things which I am hopeful in saying will come my way once I manage to eventually figure this car out. Providing I don't somehow make a tit of myself in the traffic, which is what appears to be happening at the moment. But nonetheless, I savoured my nitrous, and I wreck right at the finish line. But I did beat this race first try by 1.08 seconds over Akira. Mika finished in 3rd. Haruna was 4th. And where is everyone else? I think there were 5 of us. You know what, let's just move on.
See? I tell you, no problem.
Oh, there were 5 of us. Okay. And Jalil finished in last. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to record a replay with the Corvette. I think now is the time for me to bring out the Pontiac. Because I really want to use that car now. So that's what I'm going to do. I am now going to bring out the Pontiac. So 66% complete now. And I think for my next 3 races, I'm going to now switch over to the Pontiac, because I want to. Still, I will give this game a ton of credit for, after you have struggled enough in a previous race before you do another race, that following race actually turns out to be a bit easier for you to work your way through. At least that's what the case is with me. But let's now switch over to the Pontiac. And why? Because I said so. Also, because I am convinced in saying that this car will be good. Hopefully. So, putting on all the performance upgrades you could ask for, because I can do that. And I wonder what manufacturer vinyls we have here. Are there any others here? Oh yeah. Pontiac excitement. Yes, I am totally putting this on. You know what? I'll focus on everything else afterwards. I just want to do that. So, got all my upgrades on. Yep, this car's about as good as it'll get. So let's now go out and race this thing. Because I said so. Also, because this is technically the car I want to use for the next event. It's also because, well, I have mainly driven Chevrolets up to this point, and I haven't really driven any Pontiacs or Dodgers up to this point. And my god, does this thing sound excellent. So, just outside the Tokyo Tower. And now, we get on with race number 4. We build excitement. Pontiac. I seem to remember hearing that from somewhere. But anyway. Here it is. My Pontiac GDO. Yeah, getting back into the swing with these old muscle cars. takes its fair share of getting used to. Knowing that you are actually driving a car without power steering. You know what? I'm going to continue this. I want to try and see if it's possible for me to make a full recovery. Because I know how long this race is. I am convinced in saying a recovery can be made. But as to how I make that recovery, well... it's becoming less and less likely now. Because I just got fucked by a crossover median. I'm gonna pretend I didn't just see that. I thought about just quitting and restarting this, and I think that probably would have been the easier option for me, but I just decided, okay, you know what, I just restarted this race. I'm convinced in saying I can try this again and make a recovery. And if you want to know what it is I'm doing now, well, I am attempting to make a full recovery. And at the moment, we're not doing too bad. I just need to keep myself out of the shit. Okay, I avoid making the mistake I made before this time. And a bit of damage on the car, but not anything concerning at this point, as I am racing the... damn it. Oh. There we go. Now, I'm going to use Raw. Use it twice. And in spite of me trying my hardest to lose, I took the risk of keeping it going, and it actually paid off. So I beat Andreas to the line by 4 seconds. Then it was Tomoko, who finished in 3rd, Akira 4th, and the last place guy, I don't fucking know where he is. Moving on.
Don't be all tough guy on me just because you win a race.
Anyway, we have beaten Ginza Tracks. And now we must move on to our other 2 races. Here we go.
The original writers are holding a tournament. Show up on your street bike and get your roll on, mister. Alright?
You got it, Tomoya. So 3 races down, and we are now 67% complete with the game. Let's move on to Bridges Blitz, since that is the nearest one. So we've now done 3 races altogether, 2 with the Corvette and 1 with the Pontiac so far, although I am planning on using the Pontiac for the upcoming American Royalty Car Club tournament, and I am convinced in saying I can win that using the Pontiac as well. That's basically what my plan is. And then afterwards I'll probably have to sell both of my muscle cars. Although I might consider keeping one of them, just because, well, I obviously want to. I just had no turn whatsoever, and that truck just happened to be right there in front of me. There was just no steering input in the car for me to avoid the inevitable. I just wouldn't have been able to avoid it even if I tried. And I did try to avoid it, but there was just no steering response from the car itself. And that's kind of how driving a car with power steering feels. As in, you've really just got to basically chuck it into the corner to actually get the steering rod to respond. I can definitely say the muscle cars in this game certainly give off the feeling of driving a car without power steering. And there are plenty of people these days who do rely on driving cars with power steering. Well, at least I can say the raw mechanism is helping me. But I think since there is more of an understanding between me and the Pontiac now, hopefully things from here will get easier. But we'll wait and see. As I am using zone once again, and keeping myself in check, and almost overshooting the corner, but able to get there just in time. And now we just have a few checkpoints to go, and as of which my raw bar is now full. And if anyone does try and pass me, then that's when I'm going to use it. Even though I use it right at the end, just because I can do that. But anyway, there we go. I win by 4.2 seconds over Nick. Masato finishes in 3rd, then we had Yoko in 4th, Rio finished in 5th, and I think that's everyone accounted for.
Yeah, friend. Now that's what I'm talking about.
Alrighty. So I think that's now 4 races down, so that means I'm gonna do one more. But of course I did start this off with the Corvette. But before we move on, I might as well get my replay here because I haven't shot one of those yet. And I figure this is the good time for a replay shoot. Also, I'm pretty sure we have a Dodge Charger in the field. Ironically the same Dodge Charger that I won from the Class B tournament. If you can believe it. But anyway. I'm going to assume once I unlock the final tournament, that's basically going to be when I don't see the progress bar moving up anymore, because the rest of the game will just be reliant on the tournaments. However, I am convinced in saying I will need to do some more Tokyo racing, because I am pretty sure that will be one of my top priorities between now and then. At least between now and the end of the game. which I am convinced in saying is going to be probably the hardest part of this game altogether. Also, did I mention I quite like the wing on the back of this car? As in, I think the wing on the back of my GTO, it does actually look pretty cool. But that's just what I think. But anyway, yeah, you know. Old school American muscle, blah blah blah, and everything else, and whatever. I'm trying to remember if I did or didn't drive a Dodge in this game. I'd have to go back through my video files to find out. I don't think I have driven a Dodge. From what I know, at least. I might have to consider making room for one of those at some point. But we'll wait and see. Oh, and apparently I recorded the whole race. Well, whatever. So 4 races down, and we still have 1 race left to do, and then after that, I can get on with the next tournament. So, we're now 69% complete with the game. Nice. So we are now at a nice completion ratio. And now, we will get on with stage race 1. Are there any shortcuts through here? Doesn't look like there is. Unless I decide to go. And yep, that worked out very poorly. Okay, I actually need some speed for the jump. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I have some speed this time, so I actually make the jump. I'm gonna say amazed to say that's only the second time that I've actually gone into the water. I don't think that's gonna be the last, but we'll wait and see. That's more like it. So, final Tokyo race using the Pontiac GTO. As we are now getting on with stage race 1. Here we go. As I am up against 2 Mercedes SL55 AMGs, along with, actually, a whole field of Mercedes SL55 AMGs. Yeah, if I'm being perfectly honest, I chose to concede that defeat because I figured, well, I came close to winning, but it was a last-minute error. I'm pretty sure those are Japanese-speaking cops I just heard there. And ironically, I have one right behind me. But we'll see how they do. Anyways, using raw, trying to see if I can get it on. Trying to see if I can get that skyline off my ass. And at the moment it's not appearing to be the case. He is still right on my ass. And now he's gone. I'm going to assume there's only really a certain point where the cops chase you and then after that they just, well, give up, basically. That's more like it. So Dwayne finished in second. Second time's the charm for me. Naoko finished in third, and it was Ray Ray who finished in fourth.
Yeah, you did it for Speedway.
There we go. Another 15 grand, and we're now up to $827,000. And I think that's it. I think we've now done our 3 races that we're going to do with the Pontiac. Except for the tournament, of course, because I do want to use the Pontiac for that. But anyway. There we are. 71% complete with the game. And next up, we will be doing the American Royalty Car Club. Coming in the next episode of Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition Remix.